The remaining generators might help keep the lights on for hospitals or police stations if the island gets hit again during the coming hurricane season, which begins June 1. Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico last September, leaving 1.5 million homes and businesses in the dark. Both the island's power utility and the Trump administration's Federal Emergency Management Agency were criticized for a slow response. Most power has been restored by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, but the electricity grid remains unreliable, and suffered an island-wide blackout last month. The whole world is very nervous about hurricane time, said Rosalina Abreu Gonzalez, who lives near Mariana, on the eastern side of the island, where power has still not been restored. There is a real concern. The government hasn't provided an energy system that is more secure. The Army Corps, a unit of the U.S. Armed Forces, has said its task is largely complete now that most people have power. About 22,000 customers are still without electricity, most in remote areas, according to the new head of the island's power utility, the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority. Our mission wasn't to build a modern resilient system, Charles Alexander, Director of Contingency Operations and Homeland Security Headquarters at the Army Corps, said at a Senate hearing last week. New PTEPA Chief Executive Walter Higgins, who has only been on the job for 2 months, said he is focusing on emergency procedures in the event of another disaster in coming months. He said there is a plan for building a more resilient grid in the future. Higgins took over from Ricardo Ramos, who resigned as CEO in November after coming under fire for signing unvetted, little-known contractors to restore power, rather than immediately ask for assistance from other utilities. Still, PTEPA's grid lacks buried power lines or reinforced poles, common in other hurricane-prone areas. The power utility ran up an $8 billion debt over many years, largely due to poor bill collection, causing the system to fall into disrepair. It is very hard to see these messages where the government is saying we are ready for next season. We're not, said Shelda Diaz, a biology professor who lives near Utuado, in the island's center, where some lines and poles have yet to be fixed. The Army Corps will not provide further line restoration after Friday, FEMA said. People here have no idea that they are leaving, said Abreu Gonzalez, who runs a center where people without power can go for meals. Higgins said he sympathizes with those who want the Corps to remain. I can understand why somebody would want them to stay longer, as long as there's a single customer out. Maria hit shortly after Hurricanes Harvey and Irma slammed the U.S. mainland in 2017, but in both cases, power was largely restored within a week. I cannot imagine a scenario where 20,000 plus Texans or 20,000 Floridians were without power and FEMA would make that decision, said Senator Martin Heinrich, a Democrat from New Mexico. I think that's reprehensible.